Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our live platform. This is Tasneem, a clinical psychologist from Just for Hearts. So, today being World Suicide Prevention Day, I would like to talk a little about suicide today. So, the topic being professional intervention in the prevention of suicide. I would like to talk a little about how important professional intervention is because the World Health Organization has seen that according to the World Health Organization, there have been more than 1 million people committing suicide every year worldwide. So it's not just India which is affected by this, it is the entire world which is affected by this. So I'm very glad that the WHO has come up with such a thing where they have given importance to mental health. They've given importance to the suicide prevention events, awareness programs, and all that. So let me tell you a little bit about how important it is, and I will tell you even before taking up professional help, what are the points that are important that we need to think about, that we need to keep in mind when it comes to suicide prevention, because we see these days, especially during the pandemic, we see that suicide has become something that has been very common. Either there are people who are committing, or there are people who have ideations. There have been successful cases. There have been cases in which people have not been successful, but still, there are many such cases that we are getting to hear about these days, isn't it? So it's not that earlier there weren't many cases, but these days, due to social media platforms and all such things, people are getting to know a lot more information than we used to get to know earlier. So it has always been a matter of concern, which we all need to address, which we need to take seriously, because mental health is something that has not been considered of a lot of importance. A lot of people don't really understand that it is important to seek professional help when it comes to mental health as well. People think that physiological health is really important. It is whenever you have fever or cough or things like that, or even a serious ailment, you feel you need to consult a doctor immediately. But then when it comes to mental health issues, people think it's okay, you can get over it on your own, which is not the case. So I would say there are a few things we need to keep in mind. First and foremost, the most important thing is that when a person has suicidal thoughts, never try to say the person, just ignore it. Don't tell a person whatever thoughts you, like for example, if a person is coming to you, the person is talking about how helpless he or she feels, how worthless they feel, how the feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, and worthlessness are the most common feelings, because when a person turns suicidal. So when a person is trying to say something, just listen to that person, and don't say that person, I don't want to hear all these things, I just don't want you to think about this, just remove it from your mind, all that is crap, don't talk about it, I don't want to hear such things and stuff like that. Because here the person is coming and letting his heart out. So be happy that that person has given you so much importance, that the person has said something, because a lot of times people don't speak to anybody and just go through it. Non-expressiveness also leads to suicide. So that is the first thing. And the second thing I would say, try to provide a person validation for his or her experiences and conflicts that they are talking about. Try to say that person, I understand. Because when they realize there is someone who is understanding, someone who can understand their feelings, someone who is going through the same thing, you just tell them that yes, I know there are people who are going through similar things. It is a situation where we need to think about, we need to give it importance and stuff like that. So validating a person's experiences and conflicts is something that is very important. But when I say validating a person's experience, remember not to glorify people who have committed suicide already. Remember not to glorify people who have such feelings. Of course, we need to make them realize that we are with them, we do understand what they are going through. It is not that you just need to forget it. So never say forget all this, just forget it, I don't want to think about all these things. Because the moment you say a person think about anything but a particular thing, like for example, if a person is into diet and you tell a person think about anything but food, think about anything but a burger, so that it is the burger that you think about, right? It is the same thing with suicide also. When the person has thoughts, negative thoughts, don't tell a person don't think about it. Try to make the person feel that, validate the person and make the person feel that yes, all this is there, all these feelings do exist. There are many people who go through all this, but we get over this. This is how we usually get over this. I understand you're going through this. This is what we need to do. So it's not like I'm asking you to give them solutions to get over it, but just give them that validation. And don't glorify a person who's already committed suicide. Because recently there have been many of my clients who have been telling that the reason they would feel like committing suicide is because such people have been glorified. Such people are the ones who have been understood well. So when you're alive, people don't really understand you, but once you're dead, that's when people realize that it was a real issue which needed attention. But once they are gone, there is no point giving them that attention, isn't it? The person who's already committed suicide and has gone wouldn't really gain anything from that, isn't it? But then the people who are left behind start feeling that that person was glorified, so maybe I will also be glorified, maybe I will be understood once I'm dead and gone. And that is one thing. And the other thing is, suicide is, we need to understand that it is familial. It happens when people have comorbidity also. And so if there is a person in the family who has committed suicide, remember, these are the warning signs. So the person might be at risk to commit to think of such things. So these warning signs need to be taken seriously. Of course, it can be vice versa also. If there is a person in the family who has already committed suicide, you might go against it and try to have campaigns against it, to show that you are having campaigns in suicide prevention. So it can either be vice versa, or it can be for it also. You might start feeling, okay, that person committed suicide and was glorified a lot. That person actually was understood after he was dead and gone, so I'm better dead, or I'm better off dead. So these are some warning signs we need to be careful of. And if you feel despite all this a person is not you cannot really help that person, just listening to that person, validating their feelings, trying not to glorify such people, and tell them that you are there for them, you still feel that person is turning suicidal, it is very important to take professional help. That's where professional intervention comes in. Because a lot of psychologists, a lot of healthcare professionals, be it psychologists, psychiatrists, go through a lot of suicide risk assessment in their first session itself. So although it might not seem like they are doing that, some people have their different ways of assessment. Some people do it through questionnaires, some people do it through semi-structured interviews or structured interviews. You might not even know, but they would ask you such questions that would give them an idea whether this person would be suicidal. Because when you have comorbidities, when you have other problems like depression, anxiety, or personality issue, or any other mental health issue, it is you're very prone to have suicidal ideation also. So when people say that the moment a person commits suicide, people start finding out reasons for it, right? People start saying, okay, so and so had a dejection, so and so was rejected by so many, so and so had problems in their health, or so and so had problems in their financial status and stuff like that, because of which the person committed suicide. Those are not the reasons. Those are just the triggers for a person to commit suicide. The reason is that a person has already had a mental health issue, because of which, see, all of us go through ups and downs in life, right? We all have our ups and downs. We all feel it would have been better if I was just dead and gone. At times we do feel sad, depressed, and all that. But then we get over it. We know how to get over it. But people with a comorbidity, people with a mental health issue find it very difficult to get over it. So such triggers can actually lead them to actually commit the act of suicide itself. So it is important for us to understand that it is not just a reason. I mean, it is not that these are the reasons for a person to commit suicide, but a person has already already has an issue where a mental health issue because of which the person is into committing the act, right? So that these are some of the things. And the fifth point is, I would say that once you encourage a person to take professional help, you need to see that the person follows up also, because every person, especially turning suicidal, drops off therapy. So we need to see that the person is following up. So either if you are going through such issues, or you have a neighbor or a friend or a family member who is going through such issues, encourage that person to take professional help, and then encourage that person to follow up very well regularly as well. Because a lot of times people think that it is not their it is their weakness to take professional help. It is their weakness to seek help from someone else whom they don't even know. They so it is so we need to realize that it is not our weakness, but a strength, that we are accepting something. We are acknowledging that it is something that needs to be taken care of, because it is only your strength that will help you acknowledge something that you're going through. It is your weakness that would make you camouflage it. Of course, it is good to camouflage those feelings with you don't need to be depressed all the time and show people that you're upset and stuff like that. Sometimes you camouflage it with a smile, with trying to be happy, and sometimes you end up actually being happy, because once you try to be happy, try to show that you're happy, you might end up being happy in reality also. But it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you're just camouflaging it with a different face, and then you realize that deep within you're very upset, you're anxious. So these are some of the signs where you suddenly become aggressive, you become anxious, you become upset about things, you social withdrawal, and then sleeplessness. So all these are signs of suicide, signs of a mental health issue, not of suicide. Because suicide is not a diagnosis as listed in the DSM, right? It's not a diagnosis as such, but it is caused by many mental health issues. So that is something we need to be very careful about. We need to identify those signs to see that you don't get into this, or you can help someone who is going through this to stay away from it, to not get into it, and help themselves. So save lives, which is very important. So for more such discussions on mental health issues, I would request all of you to subscribe to this channel of Just for Hearts, and also to spread awareness to others as well, because knowledge is best shared, right? So it is important for all of us to share this knowledge, and to help others help themselves, and to help and to seek professional help. So these are a few things. Firstly, as I said, you need to validate a person's experiences, a person's conflicts, rather than saying just let it go, just don't think about it. Yet yes, to let go of something is something that is the ultimate goal. But the moment you tell a person that I don't want to hear such things, so just don't talk about it, and that person may not speak about it to anybody else, because they feel that if this person has not understood me, probably nobody else will understand either. So that is one thing. So second thing, don't realize that it is familial, and don't glorify a person going through a person who has already committed suicide, because people feel that they are better understood if they are dead and gone. And the other thing is to take professional help, to help people seek professional help, then to help them follow up that professional help. So these are some of the things, and make them feel that you are with them, they are not alone, there are others going through this, and make them realize that it is an issue which needs to be taken care of. So that's about it. If you have any queries, if you have anything to discuss about, do post in your queries and I shall answer your questions on this platform. And if you have queries, you can also email us. You can write to us at on Just for Hearts. So let me check if there are any queries that have come up. Okay, I see one question here. How to differentiate between depression and stress? Yes. So stress is something that all of us go through, right? All of us do feel stressful at times. And stress is not because we have too much work, we have too much to deal with and stuff like that. Stress is because we are not able to deal with those things the right way. So it's not like one person can take so much ml of stress and the other person can take more this much ml of stress. But yes, stress is unique to each person. One person can take more stress and the other person cannot. So when you're stressed out, there are signs of irritability. Then you feel angry at things, and all these things are there. But there is a lot of difference between stress and depression, because in depression, it's not just these things. Of course, you become snappy at stuff and things like that. But along with that, you also try to withdraw yourself from people. And if you have these symptoms for more than 2 weeks, then you withdraw yourself for more than 2 weeks, you're crying constantly, you're not feeling good about anything, you're losing interest in the things you were interested in, you're suddenly becoming very snappy at people, you're suddenly having a lot of negative thoughts. That's when you realize that it is depression, not just stress. Stress in itself is not an ailment, but stress can lead to depression. So that's the difference between stress and depression. And I hope I have answered your question, Preeti. And then I have Satya asking me, can we know about first aids in such situation, as in suicidal situations, how to intervene effectively at that moment? Okay, so the first aid for suicide is to help that person express himself or herself. So first ask that person. Some people don't, there are a lot of signs of feeling guilty. Sometimes a person feels guilty and feels that nobody will understand me, so it is better I take my life. I don't need to explain myself to anybody, because anyway nobody will understand me. Because as I said, sometimes people just say, no, you don't, I don't want to listen to all this is crap, you don't tell me all these things. So never do that. Try to understand the person, explain the importance of life to that person. By explaining, I wouldn't say give a lecture to that person saying this is life and these are the things we need in life, this is important and stuff like that. Don't make that person feel that you're lecturing that person, but make that person feel that you understand that person, you have also gone through such situations. So personal experiences would help a lot. You try to tell that person that this is a experience I had and this is how I got over this situation. So that makes the person feels that you understand that person and there is a way out. So it is important for us to make that person realize that suicide can be prevented. It is not something that cannot be cured at all. So prevention is better than cure. So we need to make that person realize that. You need to validate that person. Yes, I understand this has happened with you. This was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. I can understand, but you can still correct that situation. You can still repair the harm that has been caused. So it is not the be all and end all of everything. There are things that we can still do about to rectify the things that have happened. The moment a person stops having hope in life, the person stops realizing that there is no hope for you, you cannot do anything about it, that's when the person stops being hopeful. That's when the person starts having feelings of hopelessness, and that causes the person to commit suicide. So first aid is that I would say speak to that person, allow that person to express as much as possible. And even if you feel that person is repeating, because such people have a tendency to repeatedly say the same things, once they start expressing, yes, getting them to express itself will be difficult, but once they start expressing, they can go on and on. So don't get bored with them, and don't tell them that you don't want to listen to this. I've heard this 100 times and stuff like that, because the more they speak about it, they come up with their own solutions. So a psychologist also never gives solutions, or never gives, or never judges or says this is what you need to do. But a psychologist makes the person realize their own insights and say that and the person make the person realize that this is what they are supposed to do. So the person himself comes out with a dialogue, with a feeling, with an expression regarding what is good for them. So that, I would say, is the first state. And are there more questions? I hope I've answered your questions, Satya. Are there more questions?
No, I think these were the questions that we had. So I think yes. So you can conclude the session.
Okay, Preeti. So so it was really nice. Thank you so much, Just for Hearts, for giving me this opportunity, and also for giving so much importance to mental health issues. And so we always come up with some topic or the other. We always come up with some intervention, some way to generate awareness among the general people. So be it corporate sessions, be it private sessions, we've always been there to provide awareness to people. Yeah, you're most welcome. I'm glad. See, so if you help one person, that person can help many people. So that's the reason knowledge is better shared. So once you share that knowledge, the other person will share that knowledge to others. And even if one person benefits through all this, that will be wonderful, right? So these are some of the things I really wanted to talk about, being suicide, the World Suicide Prevention Day today. So it was glad speaking about it. It was glad getting this opportunity from Just for Hearts. So you can subscribe to this channel to get more such information on mental health issues, because today, the whole day, we would have a lot of experts speaking about suicide prevention, what can be done, different ways, what are the signs and stuff like that. So there are many such topics that would be discussed today. So stay tuned, stay connected. Thank you, all of you, for joining.
Thank you, Tasneem, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti.